Phantom Liberty will finally make Cyberpunk 2077 the game it was always meant to be. I'm counting down the many aspects of this expansion, like the Dogtown region, the story, the new endings, and all the overhauled and upgraded features of the core game, leading up to the top reason we can say that Cyberpunk 2077 is finally complete. Welcome to Gameless Plus, I'm Josh, and here are the 10 Phantom Liberty elements that finalize Cyberpunk 2077. Starting off at number 10, the completion of Night City. Night City will finally be complete with the addition of Phantom Liberty's main area, Dogtown, which is located in the Pacifica region of the map. The whole district was supposed to be very Vegas-like when it was being constructed, but it was interrupted by a corporate war. It's described as Pacifica on steroids. It's formerly known as the Combat Zone and is run by the tyrannical protector Kurt Hansen and his military force called Bargist that decided to make the area their own. Dogtown is dystopian and even darker than the rest of Night City. There's a tension and a feeling of violence and struggle. The feel of the region is a mix of authority and anarchy. In one area, there can be a rave going down where everyone is having fun, to extremely dangerous areas where you could get shot just for being there. Dogtown is now the black market center of the game. You can find everything from stolen corporate equipment to tanks. It's the best place to conduct illegal business, free of corporate taxes. In the black market center, you will find a variety of new illegal weapons and goods and powerful items, so this is definitely going to be the best place to buy stuff in the game. Next, at number 9, Revamped Cop System. The NCPD and Bargest, if you're in Dogtown, are much more fully involved in the game. They'll actually be arriving in cars and chasing you. The whole police system has been revamped, making it a lot more like GTA in its execution. You know, driving is such a big part of this game, it's good to see that they're finally taking advantage of it in a much more immersive way. Police and gangs now chase each other and you. If you get your wanted level maxed out, they will actually send MaxTac to get you, which are basically high-tech, super-fast SWAT teams. Even further, they're saying that the culmination of these police chases at max wanted level, they will be coming at you as if you were a full-on cyber psycho, and you will face and fight boss-level enemies, which sounds like a much-needed challenging aspect of this update. This reminds me of the only way I would ever play old GTA games. I'd be at a friend's place because I wasn't allowed to have that game. And instead of doing a mission, I would just drive around and cause as much mayhem as possible and get the police to chase me at max level until they would finally run me down. Having this element fully integrated really will make Cyberpunk 2077 feel like a complete game on a whole new level. At number 8, final cast and characters. Of course, we still have Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, and now they've added to the star power of this game with Idris Elba in the mix as Solomon Reed. It's been confirmed that while we have new characters heavily involved, Johnny Silverhand's presence and voice is still very present in V's head, just like in the base game. Keanu talked about Johnny Silverhand in an interview and said that he is just as passionate and has some great speeches in the expansion. Keanu also talked about how Johnny and Idris Elba's character Solomon have a shared feeling of being used and abused. Solomon is trying to reclaim his life, just like Johnny. Solomon Reed is a master spy, put on the back burner as a sleeper agent, brought back to work closely with V in Dogtown. He's a complex and layered character, super loyal to the greater good, the safety of the country, and the people close to him, but also has to keep his principles. In Phantom Liberty, he's faced with difficult choices that you, the player, will be directly affecting. This character will undoubtedly be great. I mean, come on, it's Idris Elba. Additional characters include Kurt Hansen, who rules Dogtown with an iron fist. He's described as ruthless, power-hungry, and manipulative, and judging from his description and him stabbing V in the hand, he's the main antagonist in Phantom Liberty. There's also President Myers, a former Marine and badass who has a very human aspect. The player is tasked with helping her when her plane is shot down in Dogtown. Then we have Songbird, who is very featured in the trailers and is said to be kind of a mirror character to V. People who have played the expansion are divided about her, some liking her a lot and others really disliking her. The developers remind us that really good characters aren't always likable. Another interesting character is Alex, who's a shapeshifter and uses the new cyber capacity system to change her appearance. You'll meet some other characters as you play, but I just want to highlight that this is the only expansion coming out for this game, so it will round out the cast of characters for Cyberpunk 2077. At number 7, spy thriller story and new endings. Phantom Liberty is being touted as a spy thriller in the vein of Mission Impossible, James Bond, and even the Bourne movie, highlighting the element of one man versus the world kind of a story. All set in a hyper-technological world of super smart people trying to outsmart each other. One of the creators talked about how they drew inspiration from real operations throughout the world, not just from movies. The expansion starts as you arrive in Dogtown and witness President Myers' Space Force One crash with her on it. Then you help her fight her way out of the crash zone along with Songbird. Your choices will change the flow of the story just like it does in the main game, and main game choices will integrate with your relationships to characters throughout the expansion too. A big choice at the beginning is whether or not you want to pledge your allegiance to the new USA or the NUSA. That decision will play into how your story goes, all the way up to the multiple endings in Phantom Liberty. Apparently, one of those endings will also give you a new base game ending, which perhaps may give some kind of clues towards the Cyberpunk sequel that will eventually come along. At number 6, true next-gen graphics. All of the previous updates up to version 1.6 of Cyberpunk 2077 were still able to run on the last generation of systems. Not anymore. Phantom Liberty and Update 1.7 are exclusively on next-gen consoles and PC. I played this game on PS4 and it looked nothing like it does now. Updates on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X have the game looking pretty darn fantastic these days. People who have played Phantom Liberty have said it has even better graphics than before, that overall the entire game looks, feels, and runs better, which is crazy. The environment artists also said they really did push things up a notch. It's made obvious by the fact that this version is only available on the newest generation of consoles and by looking at the top-of-the-line PC specs that they have shown. Coming in at number 5, smarter AI. One of the most common complaints about Cyberpunk 2077 has been the lack of difficulty when facing the game's AI. That's all about to change in Update 1.7. The AI is vastly improved. The baddies will actually block and hide behind cover rather than walk into your gunfire. Players have complained for ages about the simplicity of the combat in this game, so this will be a much welcomed added challenge as you play. The AI across the entire game is said to be smarter. Even the flow of traffic in the city and the reactions of NPCs on the street will be less clunky and unbelievable. As mentioned before, the police AI is also revamped, so hopefully you won't get shot for simply bumping into a police officer like you could before, or have a level 4 wanted level just disappear because you hid behind a dumpster for a few seconds. Coming in at number 4, better weapons and melee. A good amount of new weapons will become available as well as new variations of current weapons. It's a more diverse selection. Weapon stats are now fully integrated and will have reload speeds, handling score, etc. Certain weapons may have drawbacks as well as positives. There are new super powerful weapons in the game apparently, none of which have been revealed yet. Maybe there'll be a giant laser like the one that militant chimera uses in the trailer, and when you shoot it, it actually drains your health. That'd be cool. Players are hoping that the developers have eliminated picking up the same weapons over and over throughout the game in general, but we'll have to wait and see with that. Those who have played Phantom Liberty have emphatically stated that melee combat feels a lot better and that dodging has its own button now, which is great. Not only that, but instead of a little hop, there's a kind of anime zip when you're attacking. Okay, seriously, one of the coolest new things about the updated melee system is one of the upgrades. You'll be able to block and deflect bullets back at enemies with your bladed weapons Jedi Knight style. Count me in. You'll also be able to finish downed enemies with one-touch finisher attacks, and apparently with gorilla arms you can pick up bodies and throw them at other people. I didn't play in melee mode when I played this game the first time, but I am definitely going to be doing it this time around. I am glad I waited. At number 3, Overhauled skills and Cyberware. One of the most impressive and truly game-changing elements is the completely overhauled skills, or perks system. Leveling up in this game is now skill-based, so you're unlocking new abilities and attacks instead of just getting small statistical increases like before. It's executed in a skill tree system much like how many other games do it. It's just a better tried and true system, and it really makes starting fresh from the beginning of the game much more appealing. In fact, I can't imagine doing it any other way. They cut back on a lot of the random stuff and basically trim the fat a lot, making your character build much more directly affect your gameplay. Another mysterious but cool element is the availability of the 6th skill tree called Relics. This is going to be a new skill tree alongside the standard 5, body, reflexes, technical ability, intelligence, and cool. It seems to be more of a secondary skill system once you've maxed out the basic perks. It will allow you to power up your cyberware abilities in some way, but they're still staying pretty tight-lipped about how it works. From what it sounds like, it'll essentially be a super boost to your cyberware functions, like being able to shoot a bunch of rockets from your built-in ARM rocket launcher. Another big change is clothing stats being removed from the game entirely. Instead, stats will be based on your cyberware. In addition to that factor, there will be negative effects from too many cyberware enhancements. The game developers have made it clear that the negative effects won't take you to a full cyber psycho mode, but that it is all about balance between risk and reward. Along with that, Cyberware will now come with a new Cyberware capacity system, which will allow for cool new abilities like changing your appearance, which will obviously lend itself nicely to the secret agent spy thriller elements of the game. At number 2, full-on car combat. Yes, this is what I have been waiting for. They haven't shown much on this yet, but third-person twisted metal type combat seems imminent. It's been confirmed that cars will have mounted weapons, including rocket launchers and other big weapons, which is definitely a very James Bond style element. There are some clips of vehicle combat, but none of the third-person perspective, which hopefully we'll get to see very soon. When riding on bikes and using bladed weapons, you'll be able to pull up and slash the tires of cars before blasting them off the road. This is the kind of stuff I imagined when the game was first being promoted back in the day. Proper car combat is my most anticipated change overall to the game, and it will truly make Cyberpunk 2077 a complete experience. Another great vehicle element is that you will no longer receive text messages from fixers to get new cars and bikes. Instead, there'll be a website within the game, which sounds a lot better. There will also be a fixer in Dogtown who allows you to do weapon additions, customizations, and upgrades for your cars and bikes. So we're going to be hanging out in Dogtown a lot in the black market. Another very cool addition is the radio station called Growl FM, which features 14 tracks from artists who won a Cyberpunk 2077 community contest in 2022 that CD Projekt Red did. I love that they're integrating fans into the game. And finally, the main element that finalizes Cyberpunk 2077. At number 1, Codename Orion. The official full sequel to Cyberpunk 2077 is going into pre-production. All that has been said officially by CD Projekt Red is that Orion is a codename for the next Cyberpunk game, which will take the Cyberpunk franchise further and continue harnessing the potential of this dark future universe. CDPR is shifting their focus onto Witcher 4 and obviously this brand new sequel. I mean, there simply isn't going to be enough time for them to keep making major updates to this game. I'm sure they'll still have bug fixes, etc. for the core of this game, but clearly the 1.7 update and Phantom Liberty are the finishing touches on Cyberpunk 2077. The journey has been an incredibly long one, full of drama, fan fury, and financial insanity. I played the game on PS4 when it was initially released, and I really enjoyed it despite its many flaws. At this point, even though the game has been out since 2020, it feels almost like all the versions, updates, and upgrades leading to this point were kind of like a sort of early access for the game. Now Phantom Liberty and Update 1.7, it's the full and finished release of the game. So there you have it, 10 Phantom Liberty elements that finalize Cyberpunk 2077. So what do you think? Is it going to live up to the hype, or will it be a final big disappointment from CDPR? What elements do you really think are game-changing? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. And to see all my new gaming videos, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time on GameList Plus.